Hello, welcome back to Timberborn, and we have a few things to get done today before we progress with the Sky City thingy. One good suggestion was that when the flow is more sedate as it is now, we could block off some of these other routes to focus the power generation through here. It's not a problem at the moment, but we could then maybe look at bringing this power over here long term and making use of it. So it's something that I'd thought of doing as well. And what we could do is, because all of the builders are bots, but not all bots are builders, we could put it in as a low priority task, and they'll eventually get to it, is what I think. So I think for now we don't want it looking like that. We'll just put them in. Now, do we use those, or do we use... We can't control sluices with floodgates, so we'll use those. I'm not sure what the criteria will be other than maybe drought. For now, once they're built, they're going to be open. In theory, we want to do the same across here. So let's just low prioritize that. We'll set that guy to be deleted. And we'll plan for those. We'll set that to be low priority. So other things. There was a question about whether we had a storage tank for grease. We do. The next question is, how many grease factories do we have? The answer is none. That is something we should resolve. The other suggestion was, can we increase our dirt extraction, because we are a little bit dirt limited at the moment, but it's only really for this kind of project over here, which is not really a priority. So it's set to be low priority. So I'm not too worried about that. But we could. And if we need to start expanding our industrial area already, because we could do with getting that grease production in somewhere. I think what we do, I spoke about this last time, get rid of all the trees on here. That's going to be a bit of a limiting factor. Let's instead do this. We can do one either side. Get these marked to be cut. Yeah, get all the trees cut off of there, and then we can demolish that, and that'll give us loads more space to expand our industrial area. So that's that one, or those two, in fact. Yeah. I guess we could probably do it off of the fact that there is very little flow. You know, if there's no bad water here, close these. That would be an option of doing it. It's not a problem at the moment because we don't need to decontaminate. But anywho, the other suggestion was eventually, ultimately, sorting this out. Which, yeah, it's probably good, because in a drought it might be useful to have more flow through here to increase the power generation, like we're in now. But I then liked the suggestion I think it's pretty important actually. So I'm only catering for a single path out for the bad water, and that's probably not going to give us enough power generation. Potentially not going to give us enough power generation. So actually one easy win. Because the builders are currently having to go and get all the way up here to get into a tubeway station, and that's kind of a waste. That might as well go. Let's get rid of some unnecessary pathage. But yes, if we build that, that will speed up that, and if we need to, we could build some more stuff up here. Like maybe a couple of hauling posts, because we've got some beavers sat doing nothing. So let's do that. Right. Yeah. Instantly repause the game because I want to sort this out. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on getting down here. So it's pausing the game. Beavers. Down here, down here, down here. Make some more space for wood. Guess ultimately what I want to do is make a path. So let's first focus on just cutting enough trees to make a path. Actually, saying we only need dirt for one project. We do need dirt, so let's try and resolve our dirt issue. Have a dirty problem, and maybe that's where the power from this would be useful. Flowing incredibly slowly, which is interesting, and I guess it's because it goes off in all different directions. So let's change our mind, because you know I can do that. We're gonna prioritize that and get those built. I mean, actually, the easier option, and the more focused option would be to demolish that. We can then delete that path. I think we demolish that, maybe. But this is going to come out, so we might end up moving it. Yeah. Well, if get the deleting done. That one's higher up, so that would need an ladder. Yeah. To be able to build that stuff quicker, it would make sense to sort this out, because this is now generating a very small amount of power. But I think what we can do is, I'm going to pause it again. If we come down like this, that would work. Let me put one there. We get a little bit of a pocket there. What about if we did Out there, so I want to get that demolished as well. Sorry about this, folks. I haven't. You guys know I don't plan this stuff in advance, so we do it live. And that is a downside of how I do this. But, you know, they're good ideas that you guys have had. And help us improve this. So, I think it's worth doing. It's worth doing. And if it's worth doing, it's worth doing not quite completely half-assed. Ideally, I'd want to do that as well, just to make it look good. But let's start from this end. Ideally, we want to be blocking off. Doesn't quite work, does it? We get that little eddy in there. The alternative, if I build that in, that. Now there's a risk then that I'm changing the flow characteristics when we don't have drought. So I think instead what we do is we do that. So let's get them to build all of that. And then really this should only need to come in when there's a drought in play. So I think we do when drought starts, you close. When drought ends, you open. And we just keep an eye on it and see if that works. And yeah, see how that goes. And even the depth they are now is deep enough because this flow is really quite glacially slow. But in not going in these other directions will improve that. You know, we're not even getting fluid turning here. So the more, the better. Speed the game up. Yep, that's working. That's working brilliantly. Awesome. So we then want to think about where we could build a dirt excavator. And what I think we do is we delete that. We throw a... Where's the nearest tubeway? There. I'm wondering if I can get it on a tubeway. Bear with me. Un momento, por favor. It's going to be janky as. I know some of you guys love these janky builds. And you're probably sitting there going, why doesn't he just do this? And the reason why is I haven't seen your why doesn't he just do this? Then that's why I've not done it. And if you haven't learnt that by now, well, you know, eventually you will. Yeah, that does need to be that. And then what we could do is come over the top of that path, because I can't remember if we actually need to keep that path there. And it's been a long day. It's been a long many days, and I can't be bothered to work out if we do. No. That's what we're going with. I know if we were playing Ember Pelts, we'd have the tunneled bridges, I think. I think they're built into Ember Pelts, but we're not. And if you're wondering where those have gone, it's been a very busy time, and it's going to be for a little while. So I think it's probably going to be another couple of weeks before I get back to streaming. I have plans for the next few weekends, so yeah. I'm not going to apologise for actually having things planned, because I have things planned with Val, so you know, it is what it is, folks. Yep, that'll work. It's not the neatest in the world, but tubeways are super quick, so I know one of you said, and I kind of agree in a way, but they're not, so that maybe tubeways and other, you know, things like buildings and stuff should block water, and I think they do in the water beavers, which I've never played with. But you know, we play with what we have available, so they don't currently. So up here, we're going to pop out here. We're going to delete all these trees, and we're going to build our dirt excavator up here. That's my plan. This looking, it is done. So then what we're going to do is double explosives across the top. Yeah, a bit of path so they can reach all of that around the outside. Song in that as well. We'll do single explosives. And this is one of those occasions where I feel justified in not using tunnels, because it's only too high and it'll be way quicker using explosives. Yes. That running. And I'm just wondering about just deleting the explosives factory there. Building a new one in a better location. But why you're not doing anything, buddy? And putting the other dirt excavator next to this one. We're going to do that. So we're going to need to delete you. 5 wide, aren't they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gonna need to cut that out with explosives. You need some more pathage. I figured it would. I was just curious how much they'd get done. Go. Path all the way around. That can now go. This we will demolish the first row, and then they'll be able to place the next row, etc., etc. If we're going to put that there, we don't need to worry about putting it over here. But we're getting this done anyway, so, you know. Lovely, folks. Right. H for boom. Landscaping. Dirt excavator. Bosh. What we could do is put a ladder up to there. Bots in there. Bots in that one. Have a few spare bots. How is our bot production looking? 84%, 86%. Sure that everything is going okay. 100%, 92%, 73%. That's not awful. Mine is still paused because we are sitting on lots of scrap metal. Go save. Thank you very much. I need to put in an piece of path. There we go. Have dirt storage. Let's get this prioritized by haulers, which they both are now. Awesome. Right. H for boom. H for boom. And we have a nice clear area now to expand our industrial zone into. And I think what we'll do is actually we have power there. And if we move these random storage things, so we need to, we could just tap power out of there, I believe. But they are somewhat random, so I guess predominantly because we're supplying the coffee there and the gear workshops there. So maybe the thing to do is we move. Sorry, I'll get there. That there, that's going to be logs set to obtain. Emptied. Opposite the warehouse. You're going to be for... Can't I see coffee beans? Ah, there they were. Coffee beans. Obtain. You're going to empty. Beat you. Coffee there, and then with the path gaps between them, we'll hopefully be able to empty. We've got a gap there. Let's put the water tank there. Water obtain. Be set to empty. That will just delete. That I'll just delete. That I'll just delete. Which means that can be deleted. Then what we can do is dynamite under here, like that. Can't believe how long it's taken me to get to do these relatively simple things. Did I say I've removed the employment mod? I think I did. Good suggestion by one of you in that at this point we really don't need it. We don't need that there. We don't need it there. Might want it on any of those. So yeah, we've got enough beaver power that we probably don't need to be using the employment mod. So I think it makes sense. That'll do that. Then what we're going to do, that's not right. You silly boy. That is right. Stupid boy. Right, and then we do science. Grease factory. I mean, actually, it would probably make sense, given our our gear situation is improving, but let's do that. Our coffee situation. It's coffee beans. There's coffee drink. Our coffee situation is fine, so we don't need another coffee brewery. So we then go science, grease factory, yes, grease factory, because you always end up running out of the darn stuff. Boot, oil press, oil press. So we need canola oil and extract. Put a tank there. Right, we don't have any spare extract. You don't seem to be running. We might need another centrifuge as well. So let's horsepower under there. What? I was just thinking it'd be really nice if you could do. Yeah, you can't because I need to go one deeper. You there, food. We'll press there. Centrifuge. There. Got bad water just there. So I'm guessing we've got soybeans, fermented soybeans, cassavas. corn, cassavas. Just have canola nearby. Maybe not. $1,500, yeah. Yes, we've got canola there, so that should be okay. Let's get you prioritized by haulers. And you. Extract is going to go there. You should also be making extract. And what we don't have then is storage for the grease. By grease supply. Because we do have a big storage for grease over here. Right. And with all that said and done, we have now got access over here. Now, what I think would be sensible before we get on to working on the Tri-City stuff again is let's come in here. Let's clean up these dead trees. Yes, we would also need ladders there. Get up there. That, and that. Maybe, yep. Yes. We don't necessarily need to do that. This would probably be an occasion where actually your previous comments are possibly right. That's somewhat begrudgingly. I think what we should do is we should single dynamite that, and then we'll clear the top bit with a tunnel. Yeah. Right. So back over here, folks. So I marked some trees to be cut, and I never actually put in an lumberjack. But hey, in the meantime, they've got all the building done that I didn't really want them to do. Isn't that good? What we're going to do is okay. Come down here. They can work on that. Bit of that and that. You. Stay. A single and a four placed on. guess the way to deal with that is to put that there. As always, H for boom. That there. That'll let us fill in that missed bit. Boom. And triple dynamite there. My thought being that if we start the zigzags as close to here as possible, we can go along here, back, and we'll just see how many we can fit in. And then the good suggestion of having the option of routing it back this way, which I kind of liked. So, let's just pause so we can think. Pausing allows our brains to work. If you didn't know that, then I'm not sure what to tell you. You clearly don't drive a car and understand that you pause, you turn the stereo off to make driving easier. There we go there. We block across there. Back. Let's move our ladder. Okay. Will get demolished as well because they have a dislike of blockages. The army of bots go. So back over here, we do that, and then what we do is landscaping, tunnel, just a normal tunnel. And we tunnel all of that, and that will get rid of everything above it. And we can use this for something. We don't necessarily now need to use it for dirt as we had intended. Right, that's annoying. You're going to go, and we're going to put a ladder there. We've got a spare one. We have dirt, obtain, prioritized by haulers. And we'll also do explosives, obtain. Right. You we don't necessarily need that one, but we will in a moment because that's going to get exploderated. Technical term, by the way. I'm hoping that this is going to work with kind of no drop off. I mean, we could put a drop off in, couldn't we? There is no law to say that canines can't enjoy sports involving hoops and basketballs. So if we deleted that one, yeah, we could put a drop off in. Like that. To there. Awesome. If we want to go back and feed into here, then we're going to need to get creative. So let's demolish that. Path. Going to delete you. Tunnel piece there, so I'll get rid of the tree. Cross like so. That tree. Who knows? That's all done, so we can now delete all of that. Get a nice flat area, and although dirt is a little bit of an issue, we're going to do that, and that's probably wrong. We're going to do that. And we'll run path out there. And I think that'll be better. And we're going to come back over here. That's getting done. There. We want there. Do I just use explosives? I mean, it's only triples. I think I do. I was going to try and get kind of clever. But I can feel the cleverness leaving my brain at the moment. So... what we're going to do is... Why have I made that too wide? I don't know. I'm going to do that. I'm going to come through here and delete all of the clutter. We're going to go under the world. Because that's what you do. And let's throw in a bit of pathage. That might as well be deleted. By deleted, I mean exploderated. Bit more pathage. How's Buddy getting on up here? Slowly, and I know some of you are going to say that's because you've got trees being cut down and storage and stuff, but you know, yes, we have, and we have trees that aren't being used. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to deal with that by going like this. because it's quicker. Triples all through there. Back to doubles. This is where we need to start getting smarter. Double. Now we're just going to put that there. Going to disconnect those. This is going to illustrate one of the things I always talk about with why I don't always use tunnels to clear things. Oh, grease coming through now. We're making grease. We are. I guess we're just using it fairly rapidly. So. I would like you to focus on placing these. Thank you, and please. I guess the potential slight issue we have is this is now lower than this is. I might have to dump it over here. Worry about that when we get to it. H for boom. Gonna need a ladder. Oh. Oh. I'm not sure how far we need to go with the tunnels. I guess we could mark that out by doing some exploderating. See, that covers it, doesn't it? Because of the way it does depthing of things. Depthing of things is a technical term. So let's then put... No, let's not. Let's do that. So I already know there's going to be a problem, actually, so... Because that's not going to separate it. So we're going to do tunnel there. And then we're still going to have the overhang above it to deal with. And this is why I don't always just use tunnels. Because dirt overhangs. So, I mean, this we can just dynamite. That we could tunnel both of. It's not very resource sensible, but you know. I keep getting encouraged to use tunnels. I'm not doing it to be, you know, like, wow, I'm so much better than everyone. Because I'm not. At all. Not why I'm whinging like this. Because I'm sure the people that are telling me to use tunnels know all of this. And understand it all perfectly well. So. That not being built. Too far from a district. Ah. Boom. Oh. There we go. I've got to the point of the evening where I cannot see the keyboard. But it will adapt and overcome. Turn on the light on my phone. Which really aids the ergonomics because I'm now reaching over the top of my phone. They can be reached. Excellent. Yes. That will work. That sort of works. Then let's demolish that. And just because neatness, we'll do that. And by the same logic, we'll get rid of those. We'll get rid of that. We'll fill those with dirt. Okay. 0.2 days to go. We have 23,000 water left. We should be okay, I think. Should make it. Extract is still very low. Bad water is fine. So do I want to build another centrifuge? I could probably do with upping our bot population, to be honest. At this point. Or prioritizing. Let's switch you and then put those two bots in there. I think that works. Interesting. They are in District 1. Oh, we have no spare beavers in District 1 now. Okay. Have spare beds in District 1. So, housing, advanced breeding pod. Where can you go? There. Because, no, they're running. Let's throw in another one. Let the population expand a little bit. Do another 2. Got the infrastructure, so. Mark. Cycle 22, day 62. I was wrong. Potentially. I guess our lack of extract is probably causing us some of the problems with this stuff. But, you know, it is what it is. H for boom. Just because I want to do some booming. I think we probably want to do that. That can all be H for boomed. There's our drought over. That needs its double dynamite. Let's have a little watch of everything returning. I think these should have... Yep, they've closed up. Where are we? These have opened. This is slowly starting to flow. So those are closed, those are open. And what we need is stuff to be built, which it seems to be. This is starting to sort itself out. Excellent. Yep. It's beginning to flow. A bit more enthusiasm. And I guess what we could do is set these to be at like, what's the depth here? 0.6. So if we set these to be like 0.2. Then if there's not much flowing, it'll get focused through the water wheels. And if there's a lot flowing, it'll go elsewhere. That makes sense, doesn't it? I guess it's really only going to flow heavily when it's a bad tide. And then it'll just overflow those. So, and that keeps those ripping stonks of power. Stonks is a technical term. So, that's sorted. Yeah, so in here, you know, they're getting these all built, but the overhanging stuff stays. And that's, I guess, my frustration with trying to tunnel stuff out, and it's the problem I've had in the past with doing it, is essentially to tunnel this too wide piece off, because 3 wide can overhang. You've got to cut the edge off. So in the end, you might as well dynamite the bloody thing. As the saying goes, just blow the bloody doors off. So if you can tunnel under a whole thing, tunneling is great. And I think that's maybe one of the reasons I don't use it so often, is I got kind of jaded towards it with some experiences of trying to do things like this, and it just doesn't do things like this. And therefore, I just kind of stuck to the more traditional way of doing things. Because they work. Right, extract. Extract is creeping up very slowly. We have got some spare bots, so let's throw a couple more at that. Reservoir is full already on day 3, which is awesome. But yeah, now there's a little bit more flowing. And it's overtopping, but we're still getting 1900 HP out of it, so I think that's maybe a good way of managing it, actually. Maybe a better way of managing it. Interested in your guys' thoughts on how we should set those up. Right. Let's put that there. Playing in the dark is a complete pain in the butt. I should stop and get up and put the lights on, but I actually need to just stop, I think, because I feel we've been going for quite a long time. Yeah. Get that in. Then we can get rid of that tree. I'm going to blow that down 1, so we can put something in to get rid of that tree, and then just blast the crap out of all of that. So just to demonstrate, because I've not quite put all of it, let's let them put all of those in, and then we'll demonstrate it. Sure, most of you guys know what's going to go on. And it is because the overhang is so small that we could just leave this as a tunnel for the water to go through, but that's no good for putting water wheels in. So. You could go. Get you prioritized, please. Look, everything seems to be behaving okay. Yeah, this is working quite nicely now with the overflow from here and the divert and stuff. Quite content with that. We could do a little bit more. You kind of bring that up and that up. Make this little island a little bit bigger for when we want to build something on it. Right, back over here. H for boom. There's the beech tree. Very convoluted path. And then we'll start preparing with triple dynamite there. Double dynamite there. Place that. So let's just go down here. We can see this is all now built. So that's what it looks like before. If we come in here, beat the ladders. Yes, please. Delete the whole back row. No change. Let's delete that one. All that's done is delete the platforms that were there. So, yeah. Overhanging blocks. It's a thing in Timberborn. And that's why I usually don't do the tunneling stuff out approach. Unless it's one that A, jumps out at me, and B, is going to be nice and clean. So we're going to go there. And that wasn't a, oh look, I'm so super clever. As I said, that was a, genuinely, this is why I don't do this. Because it, for my experience is, it just causes me more hassle than benefit in so many situations. Yeah, if we've got to take that down 3, then obviously that's 1, 2, so it's 1 lower than this, so it's at this kind of level, which is an issue. I mean, what we could maybe do is blast down all around here. But it's all at this level apart from the bad water source. That would probably work. And I wouldn't be adverse to that as an option. What we would need to do is plan for a couple of bot-based scavenger flags. To get down into there to rip out all of the scrap. Across there. That. Yeah, we'll start that process. It's going to be a little bit of a job to get done. You could go. That still needs to be built. You can go. I mean, kind of the nice thing about how we've done some of this is, you know, we can just stick water wheels along like this and like this. So that's cool. There we go. Let's get rid of those. Please, we then need to get rid of that little bit of overhang. That. Dirt excavating or scrap metal excavating bot in. Fair bit to get rid of in there. You can go, and then that can go. That gives us now out of the bad water source down here, down here, down here, down here, and then out into here. With the ability, if we need to, we could deepen this to help. But if we need to, we could have a drain off point here as well. What I'm just going to do, just to check things. Obviously doesn't have anywhere to flow to at the moment, but you know. Give it a quick little peek. Source there. Awesome. Good to know. Good to know. Not that it matters for these guys. But I'm just thinking, actually, if we're going to pump off bad water to purify, and I'm pretty pleased with that. It's flowing pretty nicely. So let's just pause that. Close that. Hopefully that'll stop before we end up with any nasty issues. Looks like it is. What I'm actually thinking is we might want a bit of a holding tank in here. To pump bad water out of. Up into the city. Or do we put that over here? That's a really inconvenient location. They've got pipes, haven't we? So, you know. Yeah, we could do it with pipes. Now, what we do need to do in preparation is we're going to clear that area. We can build off of kind of this bit, I think. And go. So many of them. Job's good. Right. Well, folks, I think that's going to be it for today. It's another one that's been a bit of a getting little bits done. I'd probably need to do the odd time lapse or jump, but at the moment I just don't have the time to lapse. So, but yeah, what I think we'll do is we'll bring, once it's come through here, we'll put in a pipe which comes back here to pump bad water up, and then we'll also, as I said, once we've got this cleared out, drop these guys down. I'll drop this whole area down to be at the same level as the outflow of this. But that is a job for another time, folks. So, yeah. Hope you've enjoyed this. They say it's been a bit random bits and pieces of stuff, but we're making progress. We probably, just thinking, where we deleted that explosives factory and didn't replace it, that would probably not be a bad idea. Do I do it that way, or do I do it that way? Or long-term solution is do it that way. And have another row of stuff in here. I could always give them speedy access back to this side by coming in with the old tiny tubeway station and getting it on the tubeway network, because that would probably help. Why are you stalled? Only 44% productivity. Because we are full of dirt. Okay, fair enough. In that case, we will pause the second one. Free up some bots. But yeah, that's going to be it for today, folks. Suggestions, recommendations, stick them below. And yeah, we will continue with this. As I said, streaming is going to have to wait a few weeks because the weekends are very busy coming up. Yeah, that's it. See ya.